everybody, I'm meteorologist Jessica Conley, and we are going to talk about the storm that's already been moving in for the past several hours. And we're going to talk about what to expect through the overnight hours for the morning commute tomorrow, what we can expect for accumulations, and what's already happening out there. We're hearing reports of people already sliding off the road in part of the state. So let's get right to it. I'm going to log on my phone so I can see some of your questions if you have them. Thanks for joining me tonight. We'll bring up the graphics so you can see exactly what's happening right now as far as the satellite radar goes. And again, I'm just going to log on so I can try to answer some of your questions. I know it's kind of tough. I know there are a lot of you that are going to be tuning in, and I appreciate that so much. So if we are able to bring up the graphics, we got them up already. Look at us. We're on a roll. All right. So right now for the past several hours, we've been seeing snow in parts of the state, also some sleet and freezing rain in other parts of the state. Hello to everyone that's saying hi. Again, thanks so much for joining us tonight. We will continue to see some snow, sleet, freezing rain, and some rain kind of as we go through the overnight hours and into the day tomorrow. Again, this is a current look at the satellite radar. This is what's actually happening out there right now. So you can kind of find where you are. I'll zoom in on southern Maine and then to eastern and northern Maine in just a second. I know many locations already seeing some accumulation. Thank you for those reports. You've been posting them on my Facebook page and you've been emailing us, and we do appreciate those, especially those accumulation reports with your location, so we can see kind of how our forecast is going so far. So again, thank you so much for sending those in. We do appreciate that. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit into parts of southern Maine so you can see kind of what's happening right now. Again, it looks like snow is falling across most of the area now. A thing to remember as we kind of get back into our winter season here is that the radar sometimes, especially with these events that are kind of right on the line of snow or sleet and freezing rain or rain, it doesn't always get the precipitation type exactly correct. So if you're seeing, you know, what looks like snow on the radar, but you're actually seeing more like sleet or freezing rain in your area, feel free to let us know. Radar has a hard time, depending on kind of how far away from you are, how far away you are from the radar beam, or also kind of the different levels of what's happening with precipitation. Sometimes it's tough for it to pick up on the exact precipitation type. Anyways, this is what's happening right now for the most part in southern Maine. Some locations, again, already have been seeing snow accumulating. I know they've seen some in Lewiston. We got a report for that. I am just reading through some of your comments here. Again, we're going to go through the timeline and everything, I promise, in just a second. I know that's the most important part. The question I do not have an answer for you on is if people will have school tomorrow. That's totally up to your district. It's totally up to the superintendents or principals in those areas. I have no input whatsoever on those, but I'm happy to provide forecasts for anyone trying to make some of those decisions. But I have no idea about school cancellations tomorrow. We'll look at the totals and everything in just a minute, and you can kind of compare that to what usually happens. Thank you. 2 inches, Carla's saying in gray. Wow. Really adding up there pretty quickly. Strong, half an inch there. Lisa says, I-95 near Etna, getting a lot of cars going off the road. Be extra careful. Lisa, thanks so much. That's a great reminder. I was just walking over by the scanner and I heard some cars, it sounds like, are off the road in some parts of the state. So please, please, please be careful and take it slow out there. We'll get to the totals in just a minute. Okay, let me move back up so you can see what's happening in northern and eastern Maine, parts of central Maine as well. Snow is falling there. Not quite as steadily and maybe heavily, I'll use that word carefully, as what we've been seeing in parts of southern Maine, but you can see snow is still falling there. Let's look at our temperatures right now. These are, of course, important. You can see in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, it's 38 degrees. Sanford's at 33. Everywhere else except for Rockland at 32 or below. So, of course, at the surface, temperatures are below or at or below for the most part. Again, that freezing point. That is important. Let's talk about precipitation types here. We're going to be talking about freezing rain a lot. You know what freezing rain is, right? It's when it looks like rain is actually falling from the sky, but the temperature at the surface is 32 degrees or below. That means what looks like rain falling from the sky will freeze on contact. This is when we get, very slick roads. It kind of glazes everything with ice. Freezing rain clings to everything. Sleet are those tiny little balls of ice. We saw some here earlier in the greater Portland area that kind of ping, kind of bounce off everything. So we say sleet pings and freezing rain clings. Many locations tonight are getting freezing rain. So while it looks like rain is falling from the sky, it's actually hitting the ground and freezing everything on contact. That's very important to note, because as you're driving, you may notice what looks like rain again, but in many locations it's freezing rain. So let's go through the timeline and we can kind of talk about what to expect overnight tonight and then through the morning commute tomorrow. The next hour or so here, you can see still freezing rain in Portland up to Wiscasset as well. North of that, still snow with temperatures below 28, 29 degrees. You can see that rain and snow line kind of shift off to the north. Then as we go into the overnight hours, many locations, it looks like, have the potential to get some of that freezing rain as a little bit of a layer of warm air moves in aloft. Again, so what happens is it starts as snow, it falls through this warm air and melts, and then again, as it hits the surface with those temperatures at 25, 26, even up to 29 degrees, that rain freezes on contact. That, unfortunately, creates some pretty slick roads, and that's definitely what we could see overnight. It looks like as we go into the early morning hours of tomorrow, you can see now at 4 a.m. tomorrow, we'll see some kind of freezing rain or freezing drizzle, really depending on where you are. Does not take much freezing rain though, as I know you already know, to make things very slippery. So 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, it'll look something like this. Temperatures for most of us below that 32 degree mark, Rockland and Bar Harbor, in Calais too, the exceptions there. Now 9 o'clock, maybe thinking about what's happening with school, or maybe you're headed to work around this time. You can see this line of some freezing rain starting to move back through. Behind that, there's more snow. That's where all the colder air is. We'll talk about that in just a second. Temperatures may warm up a little bit during the day tomorrow, mid to upper 30s, possibly even some low 40s, especially closest to the coast. This is all ahead of a cold front that's going to be cooling us off drastically as we head into Tuesday night and into early Wednesday. This is Tuesday at 2 p.m. Again, on the back side of this cold front, temperatures are cooler in the low to mid 30s. We may see a brief period of snow tomorrow afternoon, but it's the freezing rain that's the real concern for me with this storm, especially tonight and through early tomorrow morning. Then things clear out as we go into tomorrow night. Things will quiet down, but look at these temperatures. I'm just going to move through very quickly, because look, by Wednesday morning, we're talking about temperatures in the teens. That's even at the coast. We're in the upper teens to around 20 degrees. So things are going to be very, very chilly as we get into Wednesday morning. Okay, let's look at the totals on this one. This is what it looks like as far as accumulation goes. Remember, this is not the most important part of this storm, unless you're in far northern Maine, where you may see 6 to 8, even to 10 inches. But the important part of this storm really is the sleet and really is the freezing rain. Again, that's overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. We already are hearing reports of cars off the road, so that's something to consider. It's going to get colder as we go through the overnight hours. That's something to think about. And certainly into tomorrow morning, we want to, be aware that the morning commute could definitely be slippery. So all that being said, let me scroll through some of your comments. Thanks everyone that's saying hi, and thank you so much for all of your observations. I really do appreciate that from you. Everyone's saying snow, there's snow there. What else are you guys saying? I know it's already kind of getting slushy along the coast as well. People from Florida are trolling us. Thanks so much for that. You guys are funny. All right. If you have any specific questions, let me know. Again, I can't really answer anything as far as school cancellations go. That goes right to your principal, to your superintendent. You can ask them, and I'm happy to provide them with a forecast. But as you watch where your location is, just be careful tonight. Again, the biggest thing, I'll go back to the radar so you can see what's happening right now. The biggest hazard as we go through the next several hours will be the freezing rain. Again, remember, it looks like it's raining, or it may look like it's raining, but it's actually freezing on contact. Of course, if the roads haven't been treated and you even have a small, a thin layer of snow on them, it's going to make them very, very slick as well. So if you have any questions or if you'd like to post your observations, I would love if you would do that here. Let me know where you are, kind of what you're seeing, and maybe if you have a couple inches of snow. We'd love to hear that too. We will be back tonight, of course, with any updates that are helpful. Then we'll be back again tonight at 11. We'll keep you updated on the latest information we'll let you know what to expect overnight and through the morning commute tomorrow. So thank you all for joining me. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them for you as soon as I can. Thanks so much and have a good night.